everyone, and Katribu. I'm Dina Ventura.
And I'm Francine Marquez.
And welcome to PairFect.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Hi, Dina.
Hi, Francine. How have you been?
Well, I've been good. Thank God it's 2021.
I know, our first show for the year.
Yes. And you look great.
Thank you. Black
Chic
as usual.
yes, and very chic.
I like your
Oh,
t-shirt.
thank you.
The word speaks out to me.
Yes, influencer.
Oo.
And this t-shirt is in honor of our special guest for the day. Somebody very close to my heart. She's a Philippine culinary advocate, persons with special needs champion, builder of inclusive communities. Sorry, I'm so nervous because I'm so thrilled to meet her today again, virtually. And she's been a relentless frontline feeder, a mother, sister, and gourmet gypsy art cafe owner. No other than Chef Waya Araos-Wijangco.
Welcome, Chef Waya.
Welcome, Chef Waya.
Grabe, what an inspiring figure to start the year with. Welcome.
Yes, a great way really to start the year.
Yes.
So, Chef, hello. You're in Baguio.
Yes,
What are you doing?
finally holiday
Oh.
after that unrelenting year.
I know.
Oh, a break
Oo.
for the very first time.
I know, right?
Yeah, so, Chef, first question. Ayaw na namin kasi itanong yung how have you been during the pandemic?
Last year that was
So,
our...
2020 na, no? So, how is your 2021 so far?
Actually, I have no idea at the moment.
Okay.
We're all exhausted. My whole team is exhausted from the unrelenting year. So we've been quarantined in Gourmet Gypsy. So my staff was quarantined with me. So for the holidays, we sent everyone home. And we're not reopening until next week. So everybody's taking a break. We start the year with a strategic planning session, and then we take it from there. So right now, a lot of things are in the air. We don't know about the vaccine.
Yeah.
We don't know about how business is going to fare, how things are going to reopen. So we're feeling our way through, and we'll, plan according to the safest possible route for our customers and our staff.
Okay, but before we go into that, the details of your plans for the year, can you take us back to that time when the pandemic was just starting to affect everyone's lives? So back in March 2020, what ran in your mind then? Because you had a restaurant and you had your school. So parang can you refresh our mind?
Yeah, well, the first worry is safety, is how to keep everybody safe from getting sick. We wanted to make sure that, we could save as many jobs as possible, given actually, we didn't even know then that we were going to lose jobs. We thought that, the lockdown would be over in 2 weeks, maybe a month. And then, and we were planning, that's why we planned, everybody would live in the compound in Maginhawa, so that people don't have to commute. We can do the frontline feeding. We can, so that was the initial plan. So just keep everyone safe and be able to do something worthwhile. So we went into frontline feeding by the second day of the lockdown.
Galing. Ang bilis
gumalaw. But you were not only feeding the medical frontliners, di ba, Chef? You were also feeding vulnerable communities, and you were doing...
Yes, we were lucky enough to get a lot of support from donors. So aside from feeding frontliners in hospitals, we had a lot of excess that we would send to barangays around us, to construction workers that were trapped in the university. There was a group of lumads that lived in College of Fine Arts. We were also providing food for the Philippine Genome Center. Places like that.
Yeah, pero at the time, I suppose it was a challenge kasi yung access din ng vegetables and all the
Yeah.
ingredients, di ba?
It was, we had to cook with whatever we had. So we had to be really creative. So sometimes we had plenty of stuff, like we would have tons of kalabasa. And sometimes we had nothing. So, like we get, we really had to learn things, like, for example, when we get a lot of vegetables, we had to pickle, we had to make kimchi, we had to, do all sorts of things to preserve it for the days when we cannot get anything.
Francine, what's interesting for me is, while other businesses at that time, I think were thinking of how to survive, di ba? Sila, they were giving.
Yun nga.
Bakit ganon?
I guess for me, in hindsight, it was also my way of coping. It was a way to stop thinking about the future and deal with the present. So, the future was so uncertain, but there was things to do and we could do it. So that's why we did it. So we had
Oo nga eh. Grabe, di ba?
Yeah.
Such, parang...
That says a lot about you.
Kumbaga sa mga unfiltered dedication. Parang gano'n eh. Parang sincere service lang talaga to help others, di ba?
Yeah.
Ayun. So, but how many... Di ba, Chef, umabot ng thousands na yung na-serve yun na meal at that time?
Well, for the frontline feeding, we did around 50,000 meals in the first day.
Grabe.
And,
50,000?
We kept for a few more, siguro maybe 2 more weeks after that.
And how many was in the kitchen, if I may ask? Grabe.
And we were all locked down. So we were running a lockdown kitchen. So, to make sure that everyone was safe. So we didn't use volunteers. We made sure that, we had non-contact drop-off and pick-ups of the food, ingredients, everything. So that, to make sure that everyone is kept safe.
Grabe. Efficiency talagang kailangan.
Tsaka
Discipline.
Planning.
Yeah.
Pero I'm sure naman after a while, di ba, you felt na the effect of the pandemic on your business. And that's why, at some point, you decided to close down your restaurant and transform it into something else. Di ba?
Yes.
So,
actually, we were one of the first, if not the first, to announce the closure of a business, of a restaurant. Because early on, actually announced April 26. Because early on, I was looking at, this is going to drag on. After the first 2 weeks, I realized, shit, it's not going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be...
Yes. And you were right.
the pandemic went on and on.
Yeah. I suppose magandang kwento yan. So we'll have to pause muna.
Yeah, sige.
For more of those
Chef
details.
Waya will be back after a short break so you can talk more about that time, that phase.
Okay.
Magsha-shopping na lang ako! #143SM. Call to deliver. Hello, can you get the following? One pink chair, bed sheets, na pink yung sofa, tapos slides, size 8, pajamas na blue. Oh, don't forget ang #143SM. Call to deliver. Wait lang, okay ba yan?
Anything at the SM store, ma'am.
Call to deliver. Kuya, pwede rin ba ako magpa-deliver sa ate ko sa Taguig, tapos sa friend ko sa Davao, tsaka sa, fiancé ko sa Lipa? Okay ba yan?
Kahit saan po, pwede kami mag-deliver.
Call to deliver. Call #143SM. Call to deliver. #143SM. Call to deliver. Call #143SM. #143SM. Call to deliver. Call na rin kayo. Call to deliver.
Click
click, that's it. Never thought self-service can be this slick. Modify plans in a snap, walang hirap, it's a wrap. Just tap the app, now you can check, view, subscribe, renew. Help and support for you. Out with the ring apps are the in thing, you know what to do. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Self-service and easy to use, mas okay tayo dyan. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Instant response, no hold time pa, wala nang hintayan. Download Globe at home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan. Download the Globe One and Globe at Home apps from Google Play Store and Apple App Store now. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan.
Hello, and we're back. And this is PairFect. And I'm Francine Marquez with my co-host, Dina Ventura. And our special guest today is Chef Waya Araos-Wijangco. We're talking about her journey, very inspiring journey, navigating the pandemic, the new normal, and now embracing 2021. So, Chef, before we had our break, we were asking you about certain heartbreaking decisions that you had to make during the pandemic, like the closure of the very iconic gourmet gypsy restaurant in Roses Avenue. Looking at it right now, was it a decision that you haven't regretted to this day?
Well, I don't regret it. I feel sad about it, but it was a decision that needed to be made. When we saw that the lockdown was going to drag on and the restaurant landscape was going to change significantly, if business is going to be takeout, 2 branches is really too much to bear for, a small business like us. So that's why, my accountant said, you have to make a decision quickly because every day you're losing money. And if you lose everything now, wala ka ng pambangon. So you have to make sure that, you save as much as you can so that you can build something and recover later on.
So really, cut your losses, no?
Yeah, immediately.
The pandemic made everybody pragmatic.
Yes.
Parang ganun siguro, no?
Actually, ako nga, sabi ko, there's the gift of is clarity, parang it just made everything really clear. What do you need? What do you want? Who are your friends? Who are not?
Totoo.
Yun nga lang napansin ko kasi you were I think you're the first to make that very brave decision to close a restaurant, a well-loved restaurant. And then parang I felt that everybody sort of, it's okay to close a restaurant. It's the pandemic.
Nakita na nila.
And then we saw other restaurant owners following suit, making that tough decision, ano? So parang you, hindi naman set the pace, but you made that brave decision.
It's so funny nga, like people were congratulating. Like, why are you congratulating?
Nauna ka.
Nauna ka. You were one of the first brave ones.
They were congratulating you.
Pero paano yung transformation nun? Because, di ba?
Transition.
Well, again, we were looking at how to transition into something that's safe for everybody. So we started with a small grocery store. That's how we reopened that in, I think, June or July.
The Maginhawa branch.
Yeah, in Maginhawa. And it was a grocery by appointment. So that we can do the social distancing properly and that people will feel safe going to the grocery because, going to the grocery now is such an ordeal. Diba? Parang going to war and everything. But there, because it's by appointment, we only accept 2 customers at a time. You can have a more relaxed pace when you do grocery shopping. So it becomes, para mabalik yung feeling na recreation din yung pag-grocery, which it was before.
Oo nga, no? Wala nang browse na. You gotta have your purpose.
Then, diba, Chef, parang that feeling of community still continued kasi aside from the food that you were selling, you were also getting other entrepreneurs to come.
Most products from, small entrepreneurs, mostly women, who started home businesses during the pandemic. So, we hosted them in the store so that they can ride on the platform that we have, the website, the Facebook bots that we've developed, so that they don't have to develop their own.
Okay.
But how's the business model right now? Is it still full grocery or
Well, we've started with very limited private dining, so but we only accept one group at a time. So we're still really, really conscious and scared about
Yes.
about safety.
Okay.
So, like all our staff have quarantined. It's such a big sacrifice for them to actually live on site. So we want to make sure that we don't put them at risk. Also,
so
respect the fact that they made that sacrifice.
so yung menu na na-miss ng mga clients, is it there still or how does ordering food come about when it comes to private dining?
Changed kasi parang, like after, with this pandemic, gumaling magluto yung mga tao eh.
Okay.
Diba?
Oo.
Kasi
Nagkaroon ng bakers.
are now our competition. Diba? They can, they can.
Okay. Yeah, we'll sort of connect later with Chef. Yes. Okay.
Nakompleto nila yung mga kusina nila. Everybody has.
Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalarong nasa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyong handog nito ay katulad ng casino games at sports betting na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO operators. Tanging POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
Hello, and we're back. This is PairFect. I'm Francine Marquez with my co-host Dina Ventura. We are talking to Chef Waya Araos-Wijangco of Gourmet Gypsy Art Cafe. We had a slight technical challenge, part of the new normal.
Yes.
So, Chef, hello.
Yes.
Before we had our break, natakam kami sa yung mga, you were talking about private dining is back in Gourmet Gypsy. Tell us more about it, like the menu.
Well, with private dining, we designed it so that there's shared responsibility between the guests and us with regards to safety.
Okay.
So when you do private dining, we'll accept only one group at a time. So you're responsible to make sure that everyone in your group is safe.
Tama.
Diba? Your bubble, and it's people you will interact with and remove your mask with. So with private dining, we feel that it's safer for us and for our customers because then we share the responsibility for contact tracing and testing.
Yeah.
So, but we've seen also with private dining is the dining habits of people have changed. They're more savvy now. They've learned to cook at home. They've been exposed to different kinds of cuisine. So we've also had to up our game with regards to food. We need to use better, more exotic ingredients. It's so funny how one of our best sellers now is lobster pasta.
Sarap!
I guess people now, because they can only go out, before they used to go out every week, now they they haven't been out for months, and they'll probably go out once a month, if at all.
Yes.
So they make that trip sulit, and they order a lot of things, and things that we've missed. So that's something that we've had to adapt to and provide in a menu.
So aside from lobster pasta, chef, ano pang meron?
Gutumin mo pa kami.
Gutom ako dun
Ang daming mga bagong mga people are looking for seafood, steaks, ko nga foie gras, things like, these are things that, are limited to restaurants. It's hard to get, you won't do foie gras at home because you're gonna have to buy the whole thing and it's expensive. So it's something that people have missed having and are
When they
really,
go out.
keen on.
Basta chef, nandun pa yung may laksa pa rin
Meron pa rin, And our favorites, our best sellers are still on the takeout menu. So it's all stuff.
So the business is still running as usual. So that's daily, no? Open. You're open daily. You will be
We're
open daily.
closed on Mondays
Okay.
for sanitation.
And
So,
people can order online. You have an online.
yes, we have an online platform. We have the website, gourmetgypsy.ph, and then we have Facebook. We have it on Facebook. You can order through Instagram, and also you can come to the store. So we have a physical store you can come to.
This is the one on Banggitahawa.
Maginhawa Street. So chef, Mondays sanitation, so you make it a point na talaga to keep it
To keep it
disinfected as much as possible.
virus-free and germ-free.
Kasi like even when we do the private dining, in between groups, we do deep clean and UV sanitation of the rooms that were used. So it's fresh for every group.
How
So
should
safe.
one go about diba, making reservations for private dining? Like, do you require them to book maybe days before?
Yes, it's all booked in advance, so we don't accept walk-ins. So you can book through IG, Facebook, or the website, or just give us a call. So, and we'll process the booking from there.
Okay.
Worth it.
Worth
I
it.
tell you,
nga.
worth it.
And also we do contactless service. So when you book, you pre-order, you prepay in advance.
Ayun.
You have the food ready right before you arrive.
That's a
And
good
then-
idea.
Oo nga, di ba?
Yes. And then we clean up after you leave. So we've anticipated whatever you possibly need in the room so that the waiters don't have to go in and out. So there's water, there's coffee, there's tea. Like, tubig ka na doon. Kasi
Okay.
Tsaka relax. Kasi
Yeah.
medyo
Yeah.
intimate. You get to talk to
Oo.
friends, family.
Maganda. Iba na talaga ang dining
Nabago na tayo ng
landscape.
pandemya.
Pero ang hindi nababago yata si Chef Waya, no? Because Chef, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you're very well known for your advocacies and your kindness, di ba? All the things you've done over the last year, the months of the pandemic, when you helped so many people, even small businesses, di ba? And you continue to do this with victims of typhoons, di ba? So, giving food, giving when others are more concerned about getting back what they lost, di ba? So, tell us how have you been doing in terms of that? Will you continue to do that?
well, ano ba yan?
Yeah. Kumbaga saan ang hugot dyan, chef?
Yeah.
Ganun,
Saan kinukuha yung
Saan kinukuha
energy?
yan, chef?
Saan puso ba yan?
Hindi ko rin alam. Sabi ko nga, hindi naman ako yung hindi ako yung archetype ng mabait na tao.
Sa kitchen. Kilala yan. na
Talaga?
ibang-
Okay.
Diba? But I think it's my way of
Coping?
coping, I guess. Yung parang I keep telling people, I'm actually so angry
Oh.
at when things was happening, like Ulysses was happening, may hangin pa, may baha pa, and yet just texting people, we put together the feeding program, and we were able to feed the first day for Marikina.
Ang galing
And then it kept going and then went all the way to Cagayan. But why are we doing it? Sabi ko, can we please become obsolete? Ang galing na namin masyado eh. Diba? It's not supposed to be our job to do it, and yet we are. Diba? Because ang ano dyan is we cannot stand idly by knowing that we can do something about it and that people trust us and will allow us to move and give us resources so that we can accomplish what needs to be done. And it's not like may nagsabi nga sa akin, parang, buti na lang hilig mo yan gawin, ano?
Hilig talaga. Hilig. Pero kasi kakaiba yan eh. It's not everybody will take that further step to help, di ba? People will just say things, we need to help, but then you did. You actually did.
Parang when people keep telling me, so are you gonna keep doing it? I'm like, I wanna stop, really. Sabi ko nga, my dream is for this to become, maging urban legend sa mga apo ko na parang, yung lola ko kaya magluto ng libo-libong pagkain. Understand why it had to be done. Diba? So yung parang, when people keep telling me na parang, are you just gonna keep going? I'm like, no, I wanna stop. Diba?
But you can't.
But we have to create the environment so that we can stop. Diba? We have to make government accountable. We have to make them responsible. Diba? So that, we can support them instead of the other way around.
That's a good point.
Yes, very valid. So, but Chef, aside from these communities that you help during calamities and during COVID, Gourmet Gypsy is also known for embracing the arts community, like providing arts and culture events and inviting people to interact with these artists. So, my next question will be about the events that you also put up during the pandemic. But, before you answer that, we'll take a second break.
Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalaro na sa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyo ng grupo ay katulad ng casino games at sinasabi na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO ang Pilipinas. Parang POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
Good morning, sir. How may I help you?
Bakit kailangan ko pang pumunta sa bangko?
Oo nga naman, sir. Ba't kailangan pang pumunta sa bangko?
Why not get a UB app so you can do all these without going to the bank? Bank the way you live. Union Bank.
Hello.
And we're back.
Yes.
So, kwentuhan mo naman kami about the shows that Gourmet
online shows.
Gypsy.
Yeah, kaabang-abang.
Well, kasi when Gourmet Gypsy was still open, we really did a lot of shows and events. We'd have dinners with chefs and artists. We'd hold concerts for Valentine's, for anniversary. So when the pandemic happened, a lot of the artists that we worked with were jobless and they didn't have shows, they didn't have gigs, and and yet even when they were jobless, they were doing all sorts of fundraising for frontliners, for all sorts of communities. So we wanted naman to do something that they can earn from. So I said, let's just try and do a concert where people will need to pay, and the income will go to the artists, so that we can retrain people to pay for shows. Because suddenly everything was free, diba?
Oo nga.
So on YouTube, it was for free. It was So I said, we need to get people to pay. I mean, this is talent. This is something that spent on and worked hard for, they deserve to get paid for it. So we started with one show, and it was very successful. We had a great audience, and the artists were so happy to get an income. So we started we did another show, and we even had some international guests from the US who performed. So we're working on expanding the concept further, and adapting it to the changing times also of the live music scene, and some artists, to see how that can be expanded.
Exciting.
Oo, tsaka napansin ko, kasi I watched one of the, actually, yung 2 shows na panood ko yun. Ang napansin ko, the community continued kasi di ba sa Zoom may chat group, pwede ka mag-chat So, kwento-kwento, hello, we love you, chef. Tapos, kamusta ka na? May makikita sa... So, the engagement still continued, even if virtual lang yung...
And that's how, it's funny, because that's how the concerts are in Gourmet Gypsy.
Ganon.
It's like everybody knows everybody, people table hop, and so the community spirit carried on even when it was online.
Actually, fun. Kahit nasa bahay ka lang
Parang gusto ko
parang kasama mo na rin yung makatabi mo yung mga tao dun
sabihin mo ako para
Yes. Chef, meron na bang solid schedule for the next
for
one?
Valentine's.
Sige, alam mo na. Date kayo ni
Sige, okay. So parang chef, di ba ano yung question ko? During the pandemic, people went into collaborations to survive. So from your side of the scene, how is the restaurant community right now?
Well, I actually am a member of and part of the board of Resto PH. So it's a group of restaurants who got together during the pandemic so that we can share best practice, we can share information, we can become like a lobby group for the IATF, for DTI, so we did, we collaborate, and we would share, for example, leads on possible income streams that we can tap into, things like that. So that's something that actually is a good product of the pandemic, is restaurants started to work together rather than just compete with each other.
Who started Restaurant PH?
Well, it's led by Eric Teng, and then so we put together. So I'm part of the board and ethics committee chair.
Galing,
So do you put up webinars for aspiring?
Yes, webinars. We do training on safety, things like that, and then we also do like industry analysis, where things are going, things like that. Then we also do surveys. Like now we know that 1.5 million are unemployed from the hospitality industry in Metro Manila. Grabe. And when the LSI, there's this LSI thing that happened. A lot of the LSIs were actually from the hospitality industry. So these are
stranded, yung mga locally stranded individuals.
Yung mga naka-boarding house, they can't afford na because they no longer have a job. They're essentially homeless before they go back to the province. So it was a real crisis.
Oo nga So parang how do you see the restaurant industry for the rest of this year at least?
Is 2021 more hopeful for the restaurant business based on your research or discoveries?
Well, it's been picking up, but again, customer confidence is still very low in Metro Manila. Here in Baguio, a lot of the restaurants are doing much better. The Tagaytay is doing well. So there's been, areas of growth outside of Metro Manila. People are more confident with eating in places that have no aircon. So places like this, for example, where it's nice and cool, and the restaurants do much better. But for Manila, I guess we're dependent on whether a vaccine will happen this year or not. To increase consumer confidence.
Oh, dapat by March, at the earliest.
Daming dapat natin.
Dapat. We shall see.
Oo nga.
So, and yun nga, also with the vaccine coming, we also have to ensure that there's some equitable distribution of the vaccine so that kasi ang essential workers ang pinakakailangan nito 'di ba, so that they can commute, they can
Yes.
'di ba, because me, like for example, for myself, for my family, I'm not super keen on the vaccine. It's 95% effective if you wear a mask, if you wear, practice all the safety protocols. It's also 95% effective.
Same lang.
Yeah, but the middle class and the upper class are more capable of managing the safety protocols than the working class who have to commute, who have to,
Or
kailangan-
live in closer quarters, di ba, with each other.
So dapat mas may priority doon para umandar agad yung industry.
Okay, that's true.
So,
Mag-show and tell na tayo, Francine.
yeah. We trolled your Instagram account, Chef.
That has practically nothing. I'm so tamad.
Hindi, meron naman kaming nahanap. Nag-forage kami. So, we have pictures that we want to show you and share with our viewers. Baka you can just tell us a little bit something about it. Like, caption this. Ganon.
Or backstory.
Backstory. Pwede rin.
Okay, game. Game
Sige,
na tayo.
Nervous ako konti. Shock.
Ito.
Wow.
Papakul lang ako.
Vavoom.
Magpapakul lang ako.
Grabe, may knife ba yan?
Knife yan. That knife has been my knife for the past 15 years.
Oh.
The chef's knife.
So, it was with you in your first ever restaurant?
Yes.
What was the first ever restaurant of Chef Waya?
Kiss the Cook.
Kiss the Cook on Maginhawa Street. Ganun din yung
Oh, okay.
So, chef, ganun ba yun? Parang meron ka ba mga favorite implements din? Na, aside from the knife? That you bring everywhere kapag you need to cook someplace?
My knife is like my... Sabi nga, yan ang knife ng chef, parang panty yan. Hindi yan sinishare.
Okay. Sige.
Sorry, natawa.
Okay.
Chef, what's your specialty? Diba, parang the Chef Waya specialty.
Not sure I have one. But I like the of Gourmet Gypsy is cooking memories. So memories of travel, memories of life with my family, with friends. So it's bringing these memories onto a plate. And
Ang ganda. It's not comfort food. It's
telling a story with food more than just the food.
I like that.
Yeah, bringing us to that place. No?
Oo.
Na bagay sa pandemic. Hindi ka makaalis kain ka na lang ng gourmet gypsy food. Next. Ayan.
So, ang tinood sa Cagayan. So, we made 360 kilos of chicken into tinola that fed around 4,000 people in Cagayan.
Wow. This was recent.
15 kawang ganyan yung amin.
Grabe. Ilan kayo, Chef? How many?
Actually, when we were in Cagayan, kasi again, we had to make sure, we were doing disaster relief work in the middle of a pandemic. So the kitchen itself, where we're doing the cooking, there were only 14 of us.
Okay.
And then the prep and the distribution were other teams. So, kaya grabe yung hirap ng Cagayan namin because we had to do the brunt of the work because we weren't letting other people inside the kitchen. Everybody was in the kitchen, all had RT-PCR tests.
Is it hard to do something like that? Di ba? Kasi parang you can't just go in there and say, I'm gonna cook for the victims, di ba? What?
Oh, syempre, there's a lot of coordination involved.
Okay.
We had to make sure that we had a place where we could cook at. There's security, there's volunteers who will assist, who will distribute, things like that. So, well, we've been lucky because I've been doing this for a long time. So, we have a network of people that we work with. I work with Art Relief Mobile Kitchen, also frontline feeders, and then all these people. Like we worked with the university in Cagayan, and then when we decided we were going to Cagayan and then announced it, I just say we need meat 3 tons, and then it just arrives. It's
Galing.
Spontaneous.
it arrives. So people, we've built, I guess, the trust of people, knowing that when we say we're going to bring it to where it's supposed to go, it will go there.
Yeah, importante yun.
Yeah. Next.
Wow.
Oh,
your
shirt.
shirt.
Yes, influencer.
So there, my hair is freshly shaven. We were all living in Maginhawa, and we couldn't go in. So I was doing everyone's haircuts, including mine.
Oh, that's the story. Oo nga, di ba sarado at that time, early days ng pandemic.
So we just bought a clipper. Just doing it.
Next picture.
That's our osobuco, deconstructed.
Sarap!
Di ba?
Paying rice.
Sabi ko sa'yo eh.
Roast the bone marrow and then top it with Moroccan preserved lemon.
Yum. I'm hungry na. Chef Waya, yung place ba ninyo sa Maginhawa, was that near the compound where your family home is located? Or
It's near my home. I live nearby, but our family home is actually now in Antipolo. So that's
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Kasi when di ba, I was telling you, I interviewed your dad. Doon, sa Maginhawa, I remember going there.
The famous
probably not
sculptor.
Maginhawa.
I'm sorry, Maginhawa. Maginhawa, di ba? Near UP, yes.
Oo.
Ayun.
Because her father is the
Her
famous
father's the
sculptor.
famous sculptor, Jerry Araos.
Yes, beautiful woodworks.
Woodwork. Found wood, di ba?
Bless his soul.
Why didn't you follow in his footsteps and take up art?
Sandok kasi ang hinawakan ni
Oo
Chef
nga
eh.
Ito lang ako eh.
Sandok ang inano eh. Chef, ito, last photograph. Hihi.
Nakakatawa yan. May friend siyang kasama. Sabi ng friend niya, I can't believe you know Chef Waya.
Oo eh. Kilala na natin sinong totoong rockstar.
Really. Dati, mas sikat siya sa akin.
Sorry na lang.
Gitara lang siya, sandok
Oo
ako.
eh, wala kang kutsilyo eh.
College pa kami magkakilala. Sabi niya, nung college kami, mas sikat siya sa akin. Sabi niya, dito sa friend.
Oo.
Rockstar of our age.
Ganda.
Oo nga. Like it.
Yes. So,
Very colorful ang life ni Chef. No?
oo, and marami pa yung mga more beautiful things for us to find out.
Oo. This year.
Oo, baka mag-ako.
Bibisitahin natin siya.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Go to Maginhawa.
Yes. Okay.
And that restaurant has been voted, I think I saw, as one of the best restaurants for the year.
Sige.
Because there weren't a lot of restaurants this year.
Oo. Yeah. As if. Hindi. Okay. So,
We've come to the end of our
Oo nga
show.
eh.
Unfortunately.
sarap pa naman usapan natin.
Pero
Yes.
yun. So, thank you very much, Chef Waya, for
Thank you so
joining
much
us
for
this
having me.
afternoon and sharing with us your story. Very
Yeah.
inspiring story. And I hope our viewers we're inspired enough to also give
Oo.
and not just think
Yeah.
about
Thank you
acquiring
for-
things.
Thank you for teaching us the value of gratitude and kindness, no matter where we are and what's happening with the world. No?
Yes. And acting on your thoughts, di ba?
Oh, and being passionate and everything. Yan ang mga New Year's resolution natin.
Yes.
So, Chef, thank you.
This has been Dina Ventura.
And this has been Francine Marquez.
And this has been PairFect.